What's happening, everybody? So yeah, this isn't gonna be like a build and action video. This is kind of enlightening you on the status of Patina and everything it has gone through to get to this point. So to start with, you've probably seen some of the videos where I've built the car. It was a badass 489 stroker, 600 horsepower, 6-speed. It had upgraded suspension. I can't give away too much secrets down there yet, but you know, it has road race. I had some road race seats done in the factory style upholstery. We got a drift brake in it. It has a lot of trickery rear suspension, including like well, I don't think I can even get in there right now, but maybe I can. It's got NASCAR sway bar set up, reinforced shock tower. This thing was a pretty badass little car, and it was fast. Like, this thing hauled ass. 600 horsepower, and this car weighed 3650. How it was. Now, it was also really quick on the autocross track, and it was the fastest street tire car at Matt's in 2022. But I took myself out of contention because I was actually also holding the Jalopy autocross, but it wasn't just fast in the Jalopy class, it was pretty fast overall. Anyways, this car has been up and down, and a lot of it has to do with the aftermarket world and just how unreliable and underperforming some of that stuff really is. I mean, you spend $800 on a radiator that's supposed to cool 800 horsepower, and it can't cool 600 horsepower when it's 115 degrees with the AC on. And what doesn't make any sense to me is that's a $250 radiator that's in the General. That is a 520 horsepower 530 11-to-1 compression car, or 440, and that radiator cools this car perfectly fine in the summertime. It'll be 115 117 degrees outside with the AC on at idle, and that sucker is running 190 degrees. Actually cooler than that. That was the hottest I saw this year, was 190 with that car. And it got me thinking, I'm like, why am I spending so much money on this aftermarket stuff when it just doesn't work? You know, of course some of it does, but it seems like I've just been the trial and error and find out, okay, this is bullcrap. You know, this works, that doesn't. And if you notice, Patina don't still have an engine in it, but if we go right in here, there it is. So the engine is now all rebuilt. This is the same 489 stroker that made 600 horsey powers. Of course, that's estimated, but that's actually probably underestimated. This thing hauled ass. But it's got a decent size Howard's cam in it. You know, it's got trick flow heads. It's got Morel high tolerance lifters, roller rockers. It's 11-to-1, 11.3-to-1 compression, 440 source bottom end. I mean, this thing boot, scoot, and boogied. And what I'm doing right now with Patina is I'm wanting to lighten that sucker up. I want to take all the weight off of the nose, because yeah, I'm not a drag racer. I mean, drag racing's fun, but what I like to have fun with is cornering and handling and you know, dirt track racing. Of course, I'm not going to take this dirt track racing, but I can take it autocrossing and road course racing. Now, when these cars are notorious for being super nose heavy. I mean, this car, even with all the lightweight stuff I had done to it, weighed, I think it was like 56 or 56.5% nose weight, and factory they're like 58 and a half. They are super bad. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, because this radiator was so crappy, I also additionally had to take a motorcycle radiator and tie it into this radiator, and then also I had this little mini radiator tied into the heater core. And then I also had yeah, I know this. I also had this little radiator underneath my main radiator. So there was 4 coolant radiators in that car just to make it to where it would run cool in summertime. That's a no buenos. That won't work for me. Wow, my face got super bright because of the exposure changing. Yeah, I'm not Canadian. I'm not that pale. Just kidding, Canadians. So we're gonna be doing a bunch of weight reduction on this car. We're gonna be putting that same radiator in this car. I'm getting rid of all the electric fans. These things just don't pull the CFM. It's all bull crap. They advertise, oh, this will cool that. This will cool that. It is bull crap. That has got a clutch fan on it in the general, mechanical fan with a shroud. It is amazing. And so I'm just going to simplify this car, take a lot of the fancy gizmos and gadgets out of it, and make it super lightweight up in front and simplify it. Also, we're going to make it handle a little better. It's had a little bit too much sway bar in it. Yeah, you can see I've already Swiss cheesed out my K-frame a little bit, which some of you guys are going to be like, oh, now it's weaker. No. Most of your rigidity is in this pinch weld, this little riser here, and this first, you know, probably inch of structure there. You could dang near cut this whole center out and leave just this middle piece here, and it won't really affect it. Plus, if it got to the point where I got into a crash or whatever and it did buckle that K-frame, imagine what the rest of the car would look like. You think I would really give a crap about the K-frame? So anyways, the K-frame has been lightened 1 pound. That's just 1 pound at the start of this big list that we're about to get into. All right, you'll notice this big conglomeration of hoses right here. Well, that is all the hose it took to run 4 radiators in this dang thing. And also, those are my 2 AC lines, which they are freaking long, both of them, because they came out here, went under the motor, up to the top of the AC compressor. This one came here, went around the condenser, over, up, and then to the AC compressor. I'll show you my fix for that. Go back in here. I hated seeing the AC compressor right here. Hated it. Because, you know, when I was a teenager, one of the first things I did was rip that stupid AC compressor off because I hated seeing it, and AC compressors don't mean horsepower. Well, now I'm older, you know, I like a little comfort, but I also want it to still be fast and handle good. So what I did, I made brackets and I put my AC compressor down low under the alternator. Now, this car already had electric fuel pump in it, so I didn't need to worry about the fuel pump there. But putting it down there, and I was able to reroute my hoses, you know, or not hoses, belts. And since this is now right here, my AC hoses are going to go dunk. I mean, they're this far from where they come out of the inner fender. So they'll just do a little loop, come back, hook up. So that is far less hose. I've got a list on that board over there that I'll show you in a little bit, and that'll show you all the weight that I've took out of this thing so far, and some of the weight that I'm still waiting to take out. Now the engine itself, I have already taken some weight out. There used to be an ear here. Well, that wasn't needed. That's just dumb. So I whacked that ear off. There used to be an ear there. Well, that's just stupid. I don't need that ear either. So whack that ear off. Cut that ear off. And then all my motor mounts have been hole sawed out, lightweight. You'll see it down in there, the whole thing. This has been opened up in the center. I duplicated this in aluminum. This used to be steel. We got 2 holes there. And then this one here had a little bit more work done to it. This is the torque side, but it has also been lightened. And then also there was a sleeve inside there that went from side to side, a steel sleeve, to that bigger hole there. So it didn't do anything. So what I did is I removed the sleeve and I just and welded a bolt in there, and so now that is way lighter. So just those pieces have lightened up the engine. Now, I didn't plan on doing this, but I said, screw it. So I took the e-brake all apart and I lightened it up. I still got to grind all the plasma slag down, but this is the outer, the inner, and then the foot pedal of the e-brake. I cut some of the excess metal off that wasn't needed, opened it up, hogged it out, and this thing is actually pretty freaking light now. But here's the bad thing. All that work only took 1 pound out. Carburetors. All right. This is a Holley double pumper zinc carburetor. They're pretty heavy. This is a Brawler aluminum carburetor. Way lighter. This is what's going on Patina. Power steering pump. I was gonna get a lightweight aluminum circle track pump, but at what point do you kind of have to go, okay, this is too much money, I'm just gonna do what I got with what I have. So we went ahead and hogged these brackets out here. That was, I still gotta cut, grind the slag down, but that was half a pound. The accumulator. I'm not running an accumulator no more because one of the problems with the aftermarket world is I had bought in one of those Hemi reproduction oil pans because it has the baffle in the front and the back. Well, during road racing, you do use a lot of brake, and well, that oil sloshing around inside the oil pan, it broke the forward baffle out of the oil pan. It was just dangling around in the bottom. And so anytime I would hit the brakes real hard, I would lose oil pressure. And I'm like, well, crap, I need an accumulator. Not knowing that the baffle was broken. So I put an accumulator on the car, and then when I tore the engine apart, that's when I found the issue, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm so glad that that baffle didn't get sucked up into the oil pump and starve the engine of oil. The fix for that, I have now a road course oil pan on the thing. So it's got trap doors and baffles. That thing's bulletproof. So I no longer needed that guy. Here is the factory gauge cluster. Okay. This is, crap, brain fart. Who makes this thing? Oh, Dakota Digital. So yeah, this is the Dakota Digital factory appearing gauge cluster. You're like, why is that a weight mod? Because it's lighter. I shall shows you. Oh wait, we got a leaf spring on here. So let's go ahead and talk about the leaf spring real quick. Now, the stock leaf springs are 43.5 pounds. And they make composite leaf springs. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of those factory leaf springs and put composite leaf springs in it. Now some of you guys are probably thinking, oh, that's rear weight. You want rear weight. You're complaining about nose weight. Well, if you do that, you're getting rid of rear weight. No, not really, because this is unsprung weight. Okay, this is on the suspension. Well, technically it's kind of bolted to the suspension, but it's also unsprung on the rear axle. So any weight you can take off of the suspension, be it front or rear, is a benefit. You want sprung weight, which is the weight that compresses the spring. You don't want the weight of the suspension that's unsprung. It doesn't help you. So getting rid of the factory leaf springs and going composite is a benefit. It won't affect the rear grip or anything. All right, so let's go ahead and get this heavy bastard out of it. Holy crap. Ugh. Look out, California. All right. So you're probably thinking, oh, that don't weigh nothing. It's almost 3 pounds. So you put the hardware in there that I'm not using no more, well, it probably would give you that extra 0.1. So yeah, no longer using this guy. So we'll get that out of the way. All right, so we have our gauge cluster. See, and gauge clusters have a high center of gravity. They're up into the body. They're not on the frame rail. What do we got? 4.8 pounds. I thought it was heavier than that before. I thought I saw 5. Oh, well, I thought I saw 5 pounds earlier. Now, let's see what this guy weighs. 4. So that is 0.8 pounds off of more towards the front. That's higher center of gravity. Carburetors, they are real high center of gravity. They're on top of the engine. Check this out. 11.1 pounds. Come here, little brawler. Actually, this is an 850. 7.6. See? That is weight taken off of the highest point of the car on the nose. This sucker here, I'm not running this no more, or the hoses that went to it. 8.6. Okay, I told you that was a half pound, that was 1 pound. See this bell housing here? Well, this used to be solid all the way around, and it had a bigger ear there, bigger ear there, bigger ear there. Well, I had done scalloped all the way around this thing, and then I took this to Dan's driveline and used their drill press, and we whole sawed out all this extra material, and I saved 5 pounds off of this bell housing. Well, 4.5. All right, so when rebuilding the 489 stroker, you know, 440 Source sold this, you know, main stud girdle, and after talking to a bunch of guys, they're like, dude, you don't need that. As like, how much horsepower, how much, are you boosted? No. And they're like, you don't need that crap. It's like, that's just extra weight. And so I removed it. 7.5 pounds. Don't need that crap. This is the mid plate that goes between the block and the bell housing. I don't need this crap. 6.6 pounds. The rear bumperettes, I took these off the rear bumper. Those are like 1.8, yeah, 1.8 pounds. All right, so I also took the rear bumper off and scalloped out the rear bumper brackets. Now, I could put fiberglass bumper on this thing, you know, and fiberglass bumper brackets, fiberglass hood, fiberglass fenders, plexiglass, but I want to keep the original look of the car, and I want it to still be all steel, all glass car. So when I'm out there kicking the crap out of some new Corvettes and everything, they'll be like, how in the crap did you do that? And I'll be like, it's all stock. All right. I'm also getting rid of the external oil filter, and I don't really need it. I mean, I removed the external oil filter that was on this and the oil cooler, and you know, it didn't really affect the temperature at all. And daily driving, the oil's not getting hot enough, and it's not like we're endurance racing these things at Daytona anymore. You know, I had the circle track mentality. I need oil coolers, I need this, I need that, you know, but in all reality, you know, when the hell are you really abusing this like we did in NASCAR? Or, you know, circle track, even the dirt circle track cars that I race, we don't run oil coolers. We're only racing for like 30 minutes at the most. You're not going to be racing this thing for 30 minutes straight in any kind of racing series that you could even jump this into. Jump. Not the generally, I mean race this in. Along with those rear bumper brackets that were scalloped out, I had also scalloped out the front bumper brackets, all 4 of them. And that was done back when the car was running, before I had done taked it apart. That's why I wanted to go ahead and do the rears to go with it. All right, here's another thing that is high center of gravity and super heavy, is the factory 3-speed wiper motors. This one's actually in really good shape. Kind of sad I cut the wires. But then I'm replacing it with lighter stuff. So this is a lightweight Cardone, or whatever you call it, you know, replacement. I think this is supposed to be for an A body, but I'm gonna make a wiper arm that'll make it work for the assembly that I've got. But check this out. What do we got? 6.8 pounds. What do we got here? 3.1. So that is another 3 pounds that has taken way off the high center of gravity. Now, you drag racer guys, you're going to be like, that's all peon stuff. I mean, just put a Put a 25 or 50 shot of nitrous in it and you'll gain more than all that crap. Yeah, but which is true if you're going in a straight line. But when you're turning right and turning left, when you are changing direction of momentum, that is when weight really comes in handy. Pick up that 43-pound leaf spring and go run a circle around something and time yourself. Now drop the leaf spring and run that same circle. I bet you will be way faster without it. So that's my point. All right, here is the board of everything I have done so far and stuff I still want to do. So the lighter carburetor, 3.6 pounds lighter. Getting rid of the small radiator, that one that was sitting next to the tire, getting rid of it completely, 9 pounds. Going with the lighter radiator that's in the General Lee saves me 6 pounds, and that's including the weight of the mechanical fan and the shroud. So getting rid of the accumulator, that was 8.6 pounds. The power steering pump brackets that I plasmaed out, 0.5 pound. The e-brake, 1 pound. The wiper motor, that saved me 3.8 pounds going to the lightweight one. The engine ears, I can't even read my own handwriting. So the engine ears that I cut off, the block, that was 1 pound. So the accessory brackets that I modified, the motor mounts, the alternator brackets, the that stuff was 2 pounds. Removing the bumperettes, 1.8 pounds. The bell housing, 4.5. The main girdle, getting rid of it entirely, 7.5. The rear plate, the mid plate, 6.7 pounds. The lightweight gauge cluster, when I weighed it the first time, the heavy one was 1 pound, and then the lightweight one was 4 pounds, so I put 1 pound. Scalloping the rear bumper brackets, 2 pounds. Shorter AC hoses, so I saved 1 pound getting rid of the long AC hoses and going to shorter ones. Completely getting rid of all those hoses that I needed for the 4 radiators to work. Getting rid of the skinny radiator, the thin long one, that would save me 3 pounds. Getting rid of the remote oil filter setup and its hoses, that was 4 pounds. So all of this but the bumperette was more all off the nose, 71 pounds. And a lot of that was up high or in the middle. So that helps out a lot. Now, this is what I still want to do. Composite leaf springs, that will save me 55 pounds. I want to put Milodon's lightweight oil pump housing on here, which saves me 5 pounds. Oh, I forgot to talk about that. The battery cables. So my battery is in the trunk, and I even have a remote disconnect switch, the electric one, that's also sitting next to it. That thing is heavy. That thing probably weighs 2 pounds. Well, heavy, 2 pounds. You get what I'm saying. And I have 00 battery cable everywhere. You know, my grounds and also my starter or my power cable going all the way right to the middle of the firewall. So by getting rid of the battery in the back, and what I want to do is I want to put twin smaller batteries under the seat. I'm going to remove the seats, cut a hole, or cut a square hole, and make a recessed pan, square pan that the battery will sit into, so that way the batteries have a real low center of gravity at rocker height. Because right now that battery is sitting about right here. So if we can go from here to here and get rid of all that battery cable, that is most bester. All right, the reason I have sway bar on here is I'm going to go to a much lighter tubular sway bar, torsion bar style sway bar. So it'll be a hollow torsion bar, and it'll have aluminum arms on it. And I'm going to save 8 pounds getting rid of the 1 3/8 sway bar that's on the car right now. And I need less sway bar anyway. A lot of guys put way too big a sway bar because it adds confidence when you throw the car into a corner. Well, it doesn't have a ton of body roll, and it feels like, oh wow, this thing handles great, there's no body roll, no nothing. But the problem is it doesn't allow the inner rear tire, say you're making a left-hand turn, it doesn't allow the left rear tire to unload a little bit, so that way the car will run through the corner and not have a push. When you have a big sway bar, yeah, it keeps the car flat, but it goes into a push. Now, a lot of guys make up for that just by putting really sticky tires on the car, which is a detriment. I mean, if everybody was on the same tire and everybody's running the same class, they all have to weigh the same, everything. If you went to a lighter sway bar, it would turn better. Right in the middle of the turn, the car would just rotate so much better. And Patina had a push. So last time we autocrossed it, it was fast on the autocross, but it had a push. Now, I didn't like the push. I know it could be much better. And to most people, they didn't feel the push. They didn't even know it was pushing, but I did. I know it had a push. I didn't like it. And so I'm going to go to a lightweight tubular sway bar, which is, it will have less torsion rate, and it'll actually allow the rear to unload a little bit. And right in the middle of the corner, it will hug that apex and take off. All right. Hood hinges. Forgot to talk about that. My all steel hood hinges with the spring steel springs. Now, I'm going to be getting rid of these springs, and I'm going to be Swiss cheesing these out. Probably not to this one, because I want to leave that one alone because it has the original paint on it and everything. But I have other hood hinges that I'm going to Swiss cheese out, remove the spring, and you guys are probably thinking, well, yeah, but now the hood won't stay open. Well, here's my fix for that. So if I just drill a hole here and through this one, and you stick a pin in there, when the hood's all the way open, you stick that pin in there, well, now the hood won't close. It'll stay open just because of that pin. So then all you do is just take a little bit of weight off the hood, pull the pin back out, and it'll drop down. Problemo fixed. We're going for lightness. And the hood hinges, again, way up high. Those hood hinges should save me 4 pounds. If I remember right, it's about 4 pounds, so that's what I put there. So everything I've already done is 71 pounds. The stuff I still want to do, oh, I didn't write it down, but it was 82 pounds. So this is 82, that's 71. That'll take my 3650 down to 3497. And 3497 for an all steel, big block, AC. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Patina is also dynamated. Dynamated sound system. I mean, it's a fully functional car. Even the e-brake is still functional. And the car also has a drift brake on it, so it has an extra caliper on the rear axle, and it has the handbrake inside. So all of that, I mean, for a fully functional, how it left the factory, everything still works. 3497, and I'm still going to be shooting for less. I want this thing to be 3450. So I kind of plan on taking the window regulators out, lightening those up, putting them back in, the A-pillar, the vent window frames, lightening them up underneath the door skin. A whole bunch I still want to do, but for right now, 3497. I can't really bitch about that. I just love the patina on this car, hence why it's named Patina. But I'm just giving you guys an update on this car. A lot of people have been asking about it. What's going on with it? What are you doing? And well, that's what I'm doing, and I'm hoping this car, actually, you know what? This car will be ready by Matt's 2024. I can't spend a ton of time on it, but we are working on it here and there because I also have other projects to do. So anyways, hope you guys probably learned something about center of gravity and mass and weight, and why, you know, weight is your enemy. If you're doing a car that handles, weight, you got to get it down low or remove it. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And I want the car to handle great. I want to take it on the road course and go out there and be able to whoop the crap out of some of these yuppies in their high-end cars. I just love doing that. The underdog going out there and kicking ass. Alrighty guys, well, that's it for today. Sorry it's kind of a boring video, but a lot of guys are just asking for an update, and I'm still kind of in the middle of editing this, so this is just something for you guys to watch today, and I hope you learned something. And I did. I thought I was going to be losing a lot more. I thought I was shooting for 200 pounds already, but I see I've got another 47 pounds to go. So my goal was 3450. Not quite there, but it will get there. Hopefully you guys will see it eventually. Peace out.